All right, next gen. All right, I'm gonna give it next gen. I feel like we are starting to get something going with this super speedway package because that was probably the best super speedway race ever in next gen's era. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of MDK Racing Victory Step. We're having a wonderful October opening day. Wow, what a way to get into halfway into the NASCAR playoffs. What a race at Talladega. It had everything you like about super speedway racing and didn't have any of the bad shit crazy stuff that we hate. We saw no wreck fest. We didn't need to go to overtime. It was solid, aggressive, exciting racing. But of course, there was a fantastic photo finish at the very end. This race had everything. It had a lot of lead changes, lots of, like I said, exciting, aggressive racing and a photo finish. I believe this race had, I think, at the very least, top 10 most amount of lead changes in the history of Talladega. I don't know exactly how many lead changes there was, but I do know that on lap 162, there was around 59 lead changes. The most in a NASCAR race since 2011. That's to give you an idea of how exciting this race it was. Very unpredictable. I mean, you had the Fords dominate. Then you had Chevrolets with Hendrick Motorsports. All four of them had their say in it. RFK had their say in it. 2311 had a say. So many different types of drivers had a say, had a point in the race where they took control of the lead for at least a short period of time. But of course, it's Talladega. Accidents will happen. On the final lap, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had some type of either fuel problem or mechanical issue, whatever it was, but he was slow off the pace right behind Kyle Busch. Busch got into the wall, both sustained some damage, and then Ross Chastain comes in out of nowhere. He gets clipped, he goes sideways, and he goes into the wall and crashes out of the race. We fast forward to stage 3, and at the beginning, like I said, it was Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. The Fords were still dominating, but then it shifted to the 2311 cars or Toyota cars of Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin, who at that time was a lap down. Then with around 20 laps to go, Keselowski gets shoveled to the back of the pack, and then we saw the first big crash ensue in the tri-oval when Carson Hocevar got a tap from Brad Keselowski at the wrong angle. Carson Hocevar goes sideways, collects Austin Dillon, Ty Gibbs, and numerous other drivers, both tremendous impacts into the outside wall. Luckily, all of them got out of their cars under their own power. And then the last 13 laps of the race, we saw some intense racing. You saw Alex Bowman have a say in it. He starts getting run. Kevin Harvick in his final race, they get a run. They're side by side. You see some 3-wide, even 4-wide racing in the back of the pack in the closing laps of the race. And then on the final lap, when things got really dicey. On the backstretch, Kevin Harvick, he gets out to the race lead, but he has no help. On the outside, Ryan Blaney with help from Riley Herbst. Blaney cuts down to the inside underneath Harvick to now take over the inside lane. And this time, he's got help from William Byron. You then see drivers trying to create a third lane on the outside lane, but to no avail. Blaney gets out to a lead, but then Harvick side drafts his Byron. Then Riley Herbst comes into play. He gives a push to Kevin Harvick, and now you had Blaney and Harvick both side by side. They're stacking up from behind and then entering the tri-oval. Blaney gets a push ahead. Riley Herbst comes back, but he gets turned by Corey LaJoie. A hellacious accident takes place behind, and at the line, by 12 1,000ths of a second, the 12 of Ryan Blaney wins at Talladega. There was a 20-some odd car pileup right at the finish line to end what would be a chaotic day of racing at the fastest speedway on earth. It was awesome to watch, and it was a major accident to see two drivers. It was kind of like the 2007 Daytona 500 to see Harvick on the outside lane, battling another driver while everyone just wrecked behind. But what's crazy about this is that this is Ryan Blaney's third win at Talladega, his 9th win of his Cup Series career. But when you look at all 3 of Blaney's victories, they all involve him beating another 4 driver, and the combined total is 26 1,000ths of a second. 7 1,000ths of a second for his first win against Ryan Newman, then another 7 1,000ths of a second, I believe, against Eric Almirola or Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and now in 2023, 12 1,000ths of a second to beat against Kevin Harvick. I mean, I don't know what is it with Blaney, but he has become, even though he's not perceived as a great super speedway racer when you think about who's going to be good on those high banks. You think of Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, but Blaney has come onto his own. Not only does he have 3 wins at Talladega, he has a win at Daytona. So he knows how to get it done on these super speedway races and nearly won the Daytona 500 last year. So he knows how to get it done. So it should not be a surprise, but still, what a tremendous way to cap off Talladega with an awesome photo finish. And man, my heart breaks for Kevin Harvick in his final Talladega start. So close, so close. If Riley Herbst was still there to give him that push, Harvick would have gotten it, but I mean, hey, that's racing. It is what it is. And apparently, Kevin Harvick has been disqualified. So forget everything I just said. He has now been relegated to dead last for failing post-race inspection in which the windshield fasteners weren't secured. They have to be secured for the entire event. They were not. So because of that, he has failed post-race inspection and will be credited with a 38th place finish. So this is what the results look like. Ryan Blaney is still the race leader, or the race winner, I should say. William Byron in second. Denny Hamlin rebounds from that speeding penalty to finish in the third position. Corey LaJoie, great top 5 run for him, as well as Austin Cindric. Justin Haley, Chase Elliott, Ricky Bobby in 8th place. Ryan Preece, nice run from that 41 team. Riley Herbst did a great job today, did what he needed to do. He didn't make any enemies, didn't really put his car in any bad situations, put his car at the right place at the right time, got some really good runs, and was really a factor for the entire race, or at the very least to have a good finish, and nearly had a top 5 finish before he got turned there in the tri-oval. Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10. Chandler Smith, good one for him in 11th. Todd Gillen, Cal Naughton Jr. or Chase Briscoe in 13th place. Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson in the top 15. Tyler Reddick, pole sitter Eric Almirola in 17th, Martin Truex Jr., Chris Buescher, and AJ Allmendinger at the top 20. Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace, who had a bad day. I mean, this was a race that a lot of us assumed that Bubba would show a lot of speed, and even though he did have some moments, I mean, didn't earn any stage points and finished 23rd. I mean, absolutely not what Bubba needed to if he wanted to improve his chances of making it into the round of 8. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch rounds out the top 25. Then Eric Jones, Ty Dillon, Alex Bowman, BJ McLeod, and Brendan Poole. And then the final A spots go to Harrison Burton, Brad Keselowski, caught up in that accident earlier in the race, Austin Dillon, Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, JJ Yeley, Ross Chastain, and Kevin Harvick in dead last. So this is what your playoff grid looks like with one race to go in the round of 12 heading into the Charlotte Roval. William Byron and Ryan Blaney, they are locked into the round of 8. Denny Hamlin, he has a massive cushion, plus 50 over the competition. Christopher Bell, plus 21. Chris Buescher, plus 19. Tied for 6th, Larson and Truex, both plus 17. And then a giant drop to Brad Keselowski, who now holds the final spot at plus 2 ahead of Tyler Reddick. Ross Chastain now below the cut line, minus 9. Same thing with Bubba Wallace, who goes from minus 2 to minus 9. And Kyle Busch is going to be tough. He's minus 26, but I think he more than likely is going to have to win or have some major help if he wants to have a shot at the championship. So my thoughts on this race, again, like I said, probably the best next gen race on the super speedway. And it wasn't like, oh, the best race in the next gen era for super speedways, still trash. It was a really good race by any standards. Again, I can't overestimate enough. I mean, this race had everything. And I love the fact we got aggressive racing without the wreckfest. That's the one thing we saw in the truck series on Saturday, was that we saw some aggressive racing, but it always ended up in wrecks. Cars would get sideways, whatever. But again, this race had no overtime. The last 20 some odd laps, wow, were they entertaining. I mean, multiple times I thought they were going to wreck. Somehow they didn't, and it was just awesome racing to watch. But let's talk about some of these playoff drivers. Bubba Wallace. I mean, everyone thought that when you look at a race like Talladega, you thought that he would at least be there. And he did. I mean, there were times where he started at the back, got his way up towards the front. Him and Denny Hamlin worked very well in the middle part of stage 3, but he got 0 stage points and finished 24th. I mean, that is the exact opposite of what he needed to do, especially when going to a track that, even though it's statistically his best road course, he ain't that good on the road courses. And for him to be minus 9, ouch, to say the least. Brad Keselowski had a fast car, had a shot to win, I think. And now for him to go to the Roval plus 2, I don't think there's anything that he needs to worry about. It just, he basically has to keep up with the competition. But when you look at a guy like Tyler Reddick, minus 2, we know how great he is on the road courses. So him going to the Charlotte Roval, won at COTA early this year, that 45 team is going to be someone to watch next weekend. Like I said, Kyle Busch, he needs a lot of help if he wants to make it to the round of 8. Denny Hamlin, he's all but in. As long as he doesn't do anything stupid, like today where he sped on pit road, he'll be fine. But some really interesting storylines. Ross Chastain, I don't think Ross Chastain, I don't know if I had Ross Chastain in the round of 8. I don't think I did, but I certainly didn't have him in a situation like this because he was solid, did what he needed to do at Texas, but Talladega just was the innocent bystander, got caught up in someone else's mess. And Ryan Blaney, he came in 11th in the playoff grid. Now is advancing to the round of 8. So great run for that 12 team. Great run for Ford and for Team Penske, considering how trash they were last weekend. They definitely needed this rebound, but again, nothing much else to really say about this race. Like, nothing controversial to talk about. Nothing be like, oh, this is something we need to discuss. It was just a really good Talladega race. I can't say much about it. I just personally feel bad for Kevin Harvick. I want him to go to victory lane one more time this season before he hangs up the helmet. And I was pulling for Harvick in that final lap. I was pulling for him. Even though I like Blaney, I wanted Harvick to just get one more win. And unfortunately, it did not come. Hopefully, maybe he can get, we'll see how Stewart-Haas Racing is with their cars, but hopefully he can get a win before he hangs it up at Phoenix. But yeah, 8, 9 out of 10. I can't really, there's nothing really I can complain about. Obviously, there are some issues with it still. You can't form a third lane still. It's a lot better, but the only way you can create a third lane is if the first two, the bottom lane and the middle lane, if they have some form of stack up or have some form of problems, then that third lane forms. We did see at the first part, the early stages of the race, we saw some great three-wide battling, so it could happen, but after that, the only way a third lane could really form is if the bottom two had some form of stack up. Again, I think that's something that NASCAR is going to take a look at during the offseason to make some changes with the Super Speedway package to make it better. Remember, with the Gen 6 car, it took till 2019 for us to get a really good Super Speedway race. The Gen 6 came out in 2013. It took 6 years. So again, this car is a work in progress. From what we saw in 2023 involving Super Speedway racing, the last 3 have been awesome. Both Atlanta, Daytona, and today here at Talladega have been fantastic drafting style racing tracks for this next gen car. So I think it's just going to get better and better in 2024. But what are your thoughts of the race? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Congratulations to Ryan Blaney, your winner at Talladega.